These summer days are just flying by. I feel like we just started summer, and here we are already at the beginning of August nearly. Do y'all feel that way? Do y'all feel like these summer days are just flying by so fast that you just can't keep up? We sure do here. But that does not mean that summer is over, and we will still be embracing all things summer here on the farm. One of my summer projects that I had planned was reworking the kids' bedroom. This took me quite a while to do. We were first given a whole bedroom set for the kiddos by a family friend, one of Keith's family's friends, and they had this antique bedroom set that was important to them, and they wanted it to go to a good home and chose us. How sweet is that? So we ended up with 2 twin-size bed frames, a pretty large dresser, and a little cabinet that has drawers behind the doors. We ended up putting those into Isla's room. So Isla has always had her own room since she's been in a room. And then when we had Jack, he just came into our bedroom with us. That's how I do my babies. They stay with me until they're big enough to go. Isla stayed with us for quite a bit longer than Jack. But with having an older sibling, we felt that he was ready to go into his own room. He's not nursing. So we were ready to get the kids' room set up for them. So we started by just getting it all set up with the furniture that was given to us. Now, he is not in a twin-size bed yet, but we have it in here in case, one of us needed to be in there if they were sick or for various reasons. It's just in there. We don't have to store it anywhere else, and it is ready to go when he is old enough. Now, hopefully, we will be in our other farmhouse by the time he is old enough to need that bed, but things happen, and so we just went ahead and set it up. We gave one of them a bed in the dresser and one of them a bed in the cabinet. Now, I ended up putting all of the toys into the large closet that is in their room. This just makes it easy for cleanup. I don't know if this is how we will do it in our other farmhouse either, but this closet is so big, they honestly did not have enough clothes to fill this closet. And so I thought that the toys could go in there. They would be easier to organize, easier to keep picked up. And then if we had to just close the door to the closet, at least the bedroom could be tidy. So we're working a little backwards here with their toys in the closet and their clothes in these dressers, but I couldn't fit toys in these dressers, and these dressers had to go in their bedroom because they are just too pretty not to. So here's Isla Dawn's little side. She has, a lot of this came from her nursery, or I've collected it over time. She has these little metal tins here that are a pink buffalo check with some roses. They have a little bit of blue in them, and I got those for her nursery before she was born, when I was pregnant with her 3.5 years ago. I made her this little bunting. I antiqued this little quilted pig, and made her that little quilted cat from my parents' wedding quilt. Now, her great-grandmother made her this quilted, it's a wall hanging now. We added a way to hang it. Her grandma added a way to hang it up on the wall. But her great-grandma actually quilted it. We have some amazing quilters in our family, and so we have tons of handmade quilts. So we decided they both got one, and so we thought it would be so cute to do a little display over each of their dressers with their quilts, and then a few special items that are theirs. I plan to eventually extend this along the entire wall because since they're sharing this, they each kind of have one wall that I can really decorate. So I plan to continue as we add little finds, continue to add them to their wall all the way down their beds. Ella has 1,000,001 hats, so we have those hanging up everywhere. I have a lot of hats, so she had to have hers hanging up in her room. I collected these little antique mirrors and brush sets. I actually have several, but I only pulled one out for this. For her room, I wanted to do a big collage, and this is kind of where they landed. They are hard to hang up, and so when we have a more permanent place for them, I will look into figuring out how I can hang them because I have so many of them. But for now, they are cute sitting out on her dresser. Now here's my little Jack's side. He has a little farm, red, white, and blue country wall hanging, and this also was not a wall hanging. This was a toy, but I wanted it to match Isla's hanging up, and so this actually has pockets that she sewed on that hold little farm animal stuffed animals, and so it's so cute. He plays with the stuffed animals all the time, and then this is just hung up in a way that I can easily pull it down off the wall, put it in the floor, and he and his sister can play in the floor with it. But it's also picked up, hung up where it doesn't get destroyed being down, because like I said, it is a very special item. No little girl's room is complete without a flower arrangement from farm fresh flowers from your own farm and garden. And my little girl's no exception. She always has to have fresh flowers. She loves to go pick them and cut them and put them in the vases. So Mama made her a little flower arrangement for her newly decorated room. I think it turned out so sweet. The cars and the horse were actually toys from my dad and then my mom's grandpa, which is pretty neat. So these are all old toys that are up here. That's why I put them up here so nobody could get into them. But I just think their room turned out so sweet, and it is working much better for our family. Summer, like I said, is flying by. We are on the run nonstop, and so that means we make quick and fast meals. One of our favorites for this is chicken or tuna or salmon patties. And so this is just a couple of cans of chicken. I love that you can buy the canned chicken and use it, or you can use, home canned chicken. You add a couple of eggs. For 2 cans of chicken, which is about 30 ounces, I do 2 eggs, maybe a 1/4 cup of flour, just enough to thicken it up. You add as much as you need. Salt and pepper. And then I like to add onion to mine, but on this day, everybody was eating them, and so I did not add onion. My family is a little bit picky about onions. Nice hot greased cast iron skillet and fry them up. Now, like I said, this is a quick meal, so I honestly use store-bought peas, canned peas, and threw them into the microwave with some butter, salt, and pepper, and that gave us an easy side that was still nutritious. Not everything has to be from scratch or completely from the farm. Now, of course, I lean towards more from scratch and from the farm, but there are days that it just doesn't happen. us a batch of sweet tea. Of course, we drink sweet tea around here. A little too much, I might add, but we just do about 4 cups of water, bring it to an almost boil, drop your tea bag in, take it off the heat, and then 2 cups of sugar to a gallon-sized pitcher. Dump in your brewed tea that has been sitting there for 5 to 10 minutes, and then fill that up with about 4 cups of ice, and then the rest of the way with water. Now, since my family is not big on onions, I didn't add them into the chicken patties like I would have liked. I still like to put onions, so I sliced a big purple onion up and ate several slices with my chicken patties and my peas. I'm slicing this whole onion up so that I have it prepped for some pickles we're going to make here in a little bit. May not be the most exquisite or fancy meal, but it filled bellies and it sure was good. Do y'all grow flowers where you live? We do. I always have. My mom and I growing up grew them even in just little pots or containers, and now we do it on a larger scale out in the garden. But when I had Jack last year, I had these sunflowers in my front flower beds. I used my front flower beds as a cutting garden, and so they seeded and dropped when I went into the hospital with him. And if you don't know, we were in the hospital for 2 weeks because he came over a month early. I think he was 5 weeks early. And so we were in the hospital for a while. And so they reseeded and came up this year. I didn't expect them, and they just kind of popped up. I didn't water, I didn't do anything. And so now I have these beautiful sunflowers growing in our front landscaping. We also have roses and some purple or pink coneflower. And then out in the garden, we have a big sunflower patch and zinnias and cosmos and all of the best cutting flowers that is just starting to bloom. Now this Coke bottle here, this glass Coke bottle, may be funny to some. I'm not a fancy gal. I'm a country gal. We grew up using what we had, and my time today is no different. I love real Coke in a glass bottle, and so I buy them occasionally as a little treat. And so I had to use this bottle that I had sitting there because I only had one little rose, and I didn't have another vase small enough just for that one rose. And so as funny as that may be, I kind of like the little Coke bottle with a dainty rose in it. Now let's make some pickles. I have shown these in a previous video. This is not a new recipe. Well, kinda. It is kinda different. But I've shown these to y'all already, but these are just what we're eating. I'm making these constantly. I'm taking them over to my parents and they're eating them. And now that we have so many cucumbers coming in from the garden, this is what we're using them for. I am making sweet pickles and sweet relish left and right because I'm walking into the house every day from the garden with just handfuls of cucumbers. So if your garden's anything like ours, or you're finding lots of cucumbers for sale or people are trying to give them away. Cucumbers are one of those things, I think, like zucchini, where people are just trying to give them away. We don't eat a lot of pickles all the time unless they're fresh like this. We do sweet pickles. We don't do a lot of dill pickles, but what we eat the most is the sweet relish. We use it all year long on everything. And so what I was doing here was trying to take my refrigerator pickle recipe and test it for canning and for a relish. And so we made pickles last year and I didn't love how they canned up. So I'm trying a few things, and I haven't actually canned these, but I plan to try. This time I was just testing a canning safe version of my recipe as a refrigerator pickle recipe to make sure the taste was still what we like, and it is. I only adjusted a few things, and I compared it to a few canning recipes for sweet pickles from a source that I trust for canning safety. So if you're looking for a sweet pickle recipe, this is the one we're using. This is the one we love for refrigerator pickles, refrigerator sweet relish, or canned sweet pickles or relish. I use 2 pounds or 4 to 6 medium or 8 cups of sliced cucumber. That fills a half-gallon jar. So this is going to make about a half-gallon of sweet pickles. I also slice up an onion. I do very thick, big slices, and half a bulb of garlic. I take each clove and just half it. I pack that into my jar as tight as I can, my half-gallon jar, and then in a pot on the stove, I add a 1/4 cup of peppercorn, 3 cups of white vinegar, 3 cups of brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of salt, and I bring that to a boil, and then I just pour that over my jars. At this point, you can just put a lid on it and stick it in the fridge. Eat it 24 hours later as refrigerator pickles, or you can water bath it for however long you would normally water bath your quarts or your half-gallon or your pints of sweet pickles. It depends on what size of jar you use. You can do the same for relish, so you can chop it all in a food processor, pack it into a jar, and then pour this brine over it, stick it in the fridge, or water bath it. Either way. Now, this was so exciting. We have been looking for some ducks. We've had ducks before, but unfortunately we do not have them anymore. Ducks or geese or something to add to the farm. We have these 2 beautiful ponds out in the front of our property, and we love to see ducks or geese on those ponds. It is just something we love. They don't necessarily provide anything as far as food goes to our farm, but one important thing to our farm is how it looks and feels. We want it to be a very comfortable place, a very homey place, and we just want it to have that beautiful look to it as well. Love to walk out and see the cow and see all the goats and now the geese, and we love the chickens roaming. We just love the way that country living farm life is when you have all of these animals surrounding your property. So I reached out to a friend who came and got one of our bucks. We had posted that he was looking for a new farm because we are going to look for a different buck to breed again, just so we can change up our lineage in our herd. And so she came and got him, and then eventually I asked her if she still had these geese. I knew she had them. They had hatched them, and I thought they for sure would sell, and she still had them. And so she said, just come up and get them. And so we did. These are, I don't know that I'm going to say it right, Sebastopol geese. That could be totally wrong, but we have now added them to our farm, and we love going out and just watching them. They're more friendly than any other geese I've been around, but they still hiss and honk at us if we get a little too close, but that's okay. We named them Clover, Tulip, and Pearl, and the only one I renamed was Clover. I renamed her to, I think it's a her, we don't actually know, but it looks like a female. I've renamed her to Clancy because she has gray feathers, and my daughter loves Spirit Riding Free, the show, and there is a goose on there that is a female that has gray feathers, and her name is Clancy, so that's her new name. And of course, I'm going to take you along for milking chores on this evening. This is one of my favorite things that we do here on the farm. Milking and the garden. Those are my two favorite things. We also have beef and chickens and all of that, but my favorite is the raw milk. And so come along and milk with me this evening.